Aloha! Today, we journey back to ancient Hawaii to meet a legendary king and a powerful queen. This is Kamehameha the Great, the fierce warrior who united the Hawaiian Islands under his rule, forging a new kingdom. Through brilliant strategy and strength, he brought an end to centuries of conflict, but his story doesn't end there. At his side was his favorite wife, the intelligent and influential Queen Kaʻahumanu. After Kamehameha's passing, she didn't just stand by, she rose to power as regent, or kuina nui. In a bold and revolutionary move, she shattered the ancient kapu system of laws and taboos, forever changing Hawaiian society. Together, Kamehameha and Kaʻahumanu's leadership and vision shaped the destiny of a nation, leaving a legacy that still resonates throughout the islands today. In the vast blue of the Pacific, a chain of volcanic islands pulsed with life, culture, and the spirit of its people. For centuries, these Hawaiian islands were a mosaic of warring chiefdoms, each vying for dominance. But from this crucible of conflict, a figure of prophecy and power would emerge, a man destined to forge a nation from the fires of battle. This is the story of Kamehameha the Great, the unifier of Hawaii, and the remarkable queen who would carry his legacy into a new era, Kaahumanu. Our story begins on the big island of Hawaii in the late 18th century. A prophecy foretold of a great leader who would unite the islands, a chief born under a bright star, a sign that coincided with the passing of Halley's Comet. That chief was Kamehameha. Raised in seclusion to protect him from rival chiefs who feared the prophecy, he grew into a formidable warrior, renowned for his physical strength, keen intellect, and strategic brilliance. Legends say he was so strong he single-handedly overturned the Naha Stone, a massive volcanic rock that, according to another prophecy, could only be moved by the one who would rule all the islands. Whether by destiny or sheer will, Kamehameha was poised for greatness. His early years were marked by constant warfare. The islands were a battlefield of shifting alliances and brutal betrayals. Kamehameha, mentored by his uncle Kalani Puyu, the ruling chief of the island of Hawaii, learned the arts of war and governance firsthand. He wasn't just a brute warrior, he was a visionary. He understood that to unite the islands, he needed more than just muscle. He needed strategy, diplomacy, and a new kind of firepower. This is where the story takes a pivotal turn. The arrival of Western ships brought new technologies, including cannons and muskets. While many saw these foreigners as a threat, Kamehameha saw an opportunity. He skillfully negotiated with traders and enlisted the help of Western advisors like John Young and Isaac Davis. He integrated their knowledge of firearms and naval tactics with traditional Hawaiian warfare, creating a disciplined and modern army the likes of which the islands had never seen. This fusion of old and new would become his signature, the key to his unparalleled success. Beginning his campaign from his home island, Kamehameha's path to unification was a long and arduous one. In 1790, a dramatic volcanic eruption on the Big Island decimated his rival's army, an event seen by many as a sign of the volcano goddess Peel's favor. This divine endorsement, combined with his military might, fueled his conquests. He swiftly took control of Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. One of his most famous victories was the Battle of Niuanu on the island of Oahu in 1795. In a dramatic and decisive confrontation, his forces drove the Oahu warriors up the steep cliffs of the Niuanu Pali. Faced with a sheer drop of 1,000 feet, hundreds were forced over the edge in a final, tragic stand. With Oahu secured, Kamehameha was the master of all the islands except for Kauai and Niihau. But Kamehameha knew that a kingdom built solely on conquest could not last. He needed to build a society. He was a statesman as well as a warrior. It was during this time that he established the Kinwai Migmalaho, or the Law of the Splintered Paddle. The law originated from a personal experience where Kamehameha, during an attack, got his foot stuck in a rock crevice and was struck on the head by a fisherman with a canoe paddle. Instead of seeking revenge, he recognized the fisherman was simply defending his family and home. This led to a revolutionary law protecting non-combatants in times of war. It decreed that every person, the elderly, the women, and the children, must be able to lie down and sleep on the roadside in safety. This law was a cornerstone of his reign, a testament to his vision of a just and humane society, and it remains a model for human rights law to this day. By 1810, King Kamehameha of Kauai, seeing the futility of further resistance against Kamehameha's overwhelming force, chose diplomacy over bloodshed. He peacefully ceded his islands, completing the unification. For the first time in history, the Hawaiian archipelago was united under a single ruler. The Kingdom of Hawaii was born. As king, Kamehameha I was a shrewd and effective ruler. He established a centralized government, monopolized the lucrative sandalwood trade to enrich his kingdom, and maintained Hawaii's independence in an age of encroaching colonial powers. He was a guardian of traditional Hawaiian culture and religion, upholding the strict kapu system, a complex set of sacred laws that governed every aspect of life. But no king rules alone. Throughout his rise, Kamehameha had many wives, but none were as influential or as powerful as his favorite, Queen Kaʻahumanu. She was intelligent, ambitious, and politically astute, a true partner in his reign. Her high-ranking lineage gave Kamehameha further legitimacy, and her counsel was invaluable. She wasn't just a queen consort. She was a force of nature, a political power in her own right, and she was observing, learning, and preparing for the day she would step out of his shadow. In 1819, after a long and monumental reign, King Kamehameha the Great died. His passing left a massive power vacuum. His eldest son, Lihaliho, ascended the throne as Kamehameha II, but the old king, in his wisdom, had made a plan for the succession. He knew his son was not the strong leader he had been. So, in an unprecedented move, he created a new position specifically for his favorite wife, Kaʻahumanu, a role akin to a prime minister or co-regent. This was Kaʻahumanu's moment. She emerged from the background to share power with the new king. She was no longer just the queen dowager. She was the most powerful political figure in the kingdom, and she had a revolutionary agenda. For years, Kaʻahumanu had felt constrained by the ancient kapu system. This rigid religious code placed severe restrictions on women. They were forbidden from eating certain foods, like bananas and pork, and were not allowed to eat with men. Kaʻahumanu saw this system as an obstacle to progress and a tool of oppression. Just 6 months after Kamehameha's death, she made her move. In a carefully orchestrated public ceremony, she persuaded the young king Kamehameha II to defy the gods. She arranged a great feast and convinced Lihaliho to sit down and eat with the women of the court, a direct violation of the most sacred kapu. The crowd watched in stunned silence, expecting the heavens to strike them down. When nothing happened, the spell was broken. The old gods were silent. This single act, known as the Ai Noa, or free eating, shattered the foundation of the ancient Hawaiian religion. Kaʻahumanu ordered the destruction of temples and religious idols across the islands. It was a radical, swift, and complete social and religious revolution, clearing the way for a new chapter in Hawaiian history. This act not only liberated women from oppressive traditional constraints, but also conveniently paved the way for the arrival of Christian missionaries a few months later who found a nation in a spiritual vacuum, ready to embrace a new faith. Kaʻahumanu would go on to embrace Christianity herself and became a devout advocate for the new religion. As Queen Anui, she governed alongside both Kamehameha II and later his younger brother, Kamehameha III. She codified the first set of written laws for the kingdom based on Christian principles and promoted literacy and education. Her influence was immense, shaping the legal, social, and religious fabric of the nation for decades. The legacy of Kamehameha the First and Queen Kaʻahumanu is a tale of two halves that form a whole. He was the unifier, the warrior king who forged a nation through strength and strategy, yet ruled with a vision of justice. She was the reformer, the regent who courageously dismantled an ancient system to modernize her society and empower its people, especially its women. Together, their reigns represent a dynamic and transformative period in Hawaiian history. Kamehameha built the house, and Kaʻahumanu opened the windows to let in the winds of change. Their leadership, their partnership, and their profound impact ensured that the Kingdom of Hawaii would not only survive but evolve, leaving an indelible mark on the soul of the islands.